This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. A Canadian woman has just been fired from a Tim Hortons because she called out the management for only hiring Indians. Just got fired from Tim Hortons after 4 years just because I called out management for only hiring Indians. So now I'm exposing everything they make us hide. I was a loyal Tim Hortons worker for 4 years. Out of curiosity, asked my manager why we only hire Indians, and I got fired. Spilling all the secrets they made us hide from you. Like how expired ingredients get used, especially in sandwiches and bagels. Yes, that's mold. If management finds out, they just made us cut around the bad parts. We've been told to skip cleaning cycles for the coffee machines just to keep the line moving. It was really gross because so much bacteria grew. They only hire international students and immigrants now. Still don't know the exact reason because I'm hearing a lot of different reasons. I heard the government is covering the pay for them. Well, yes, that is indeed the case because Tim Hortons relies very, very heavily on the Temporary Foreign Workers Program and labor market impact assessments. Tim Hortons criticized for looking abroad to staff Ontario cafes. More residents of Ontario and Canada at large have been keeping an eye on foreign worker stats lately after learning just how many companies have applied to hire employees from abroad using labor market impact assessments, including Tim Hortons, which is now under serious scrutiny for the practice. It has come to light that the assessments, a tool from the federal government reserved for times when there is a need for a foreign worker to fill a job because no Canadian worker or permanent resident is available to do it, are being used for all sorts of positions that many feel could easily be filled by local candidates. This is especially concerning when the job market is as competitive as it currently is, with qualified hopefuls having to apply to hundreds or even thousands of positions, and Toronto's unemployment rating is sitting at a brutal 7.7%. Did you know that the number of Indians immigrating to Canada has skyrocketed by more than 4 times since 2013? In just the last 10 years, Indian immigration to Canada has gone from 32,000 to 139,000. That's a staggering increase of 326%. If the hiring keeps going the way it's going, this may soon be the new Tim Hortons mascot. Of course, discriminatory hiring isn't the only reason to boycott Tim Hortons. Remember when Tim Hortons faced boycott calls over requiring vaccination for summer camps? Well, thankfully, the boycott succeeded because Tim's camps ended up dropping their COVID-19 vaccine mandate for campers. Or did you know that Tim Hortons has an orange sprinkled donut campaign that perpetuates the residential school mass graves hoax?
When the news broke about the Indian residential schools, it just gave truth to the fact of what really happened.
What? No, it didn't. What truth? Not a single bone, never mind an entire body, has ever been recovered to this date, so this is just perpetuating a massive lie here.
The burial site is not very far away from us.
What burial site? What are you talking about? Not a single grave has been found. This is just a massive lie that is being perpetuated in this commercial here.
There's a lot of uneducated people about the history of Indigenous people, so we're very honored that through the Tim Hortons Orange Donut, Tim Hortons along with our owners are working in partnership from coast to coast to be able to raise awareness and educate so many people, plus help 2 organizations that do a lot of social benefits for many, many Indigenous people and many Indigenous communities. Support the Orange Donut, support the Every Child Matters movement, be an agent of change. Your donations will go to a very worthy cause.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, they push that type of propaganda while also censoring good content, like the kind of stuff that you get right here from Press for Truth. Back in 2016, I was informed by a bunch of people that my website, pressfortruth.ca, was being banned from being viewed at Tim Hortons restaurants for inappropriate content. So naturally, I went to a Tim Hortons to see if this was true, and I ended up producing a video to expose Tim Hortons for what they were doing to me. I shared the video on X yesterday, and it's getting a lot of views and positive comments from people who have never seen it. So today I'd like to leave you with that video, as if there wasn't already enough reasons for you to boycott Tim Hortons. If you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, please consider making a donation at pressfortruth.ca/donate. You can check the top link in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who donates today to support my efforts here at Press for Truth. All right, guys, without further ado, here's my 2016 video report titled, Tim Hortons Doesn't Want You to See the Truth. This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. As you can see, we are currently in front of a Tim Hortons restaurant here in beautiful Squamish, British Columbia. And the reason why we're here today is because I've been receiving messages for the past few months from people all across the country telling me, Dan, your website, pressfortruth.ca, is banned and blocked at all Tim Hortons restaurants as inappropriate content. So we're gonna find out if this is true. We're gonna head in there and grab a coffee and see if we can get on pressfortruth.ca. All right, guys, so we're on the inside. Step one, we're gonna go ahead and log on to Tim Hortons Wi-Fi. Let me just pull this up and make sure we are connected. And there it is. Connected to Tim Hortons Wi-Fi. All right, now we'll go ahead and pull up the internet and accept their terms. Yes, I accept the terms. You just accepted that without reading it? All right, and we are in. Now let's try to access Press for Truth, shall we? And we'll read some of the news while we enjoy our morning coffee. Press for Truth. Ooh, there it is, folks. Access to this page has been blocked due to inappropriate content. Now here's the thing, folks. Tim Hortons is a private company, so I won't hold it against them for wanting to block certain websites from their Wi-Fi. Fact is, we are on their private property using their private Wi-Fi, so they can blacklist whoever they want, but I do find it very interesting that Press for Truth, a Canadian news site, is blocked here at Tim Hortons. But I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out this is not the first time that this has happened. 3 years ago, Tim Hortons ran into a lot of trouble when a certain gay and lesbian news site was banned by the restaurant. This wasn't gay porn or anything like that. It was simply just a news site that was geared towards the gay community. Now, the news site contacted Tim Hortons, assuming that this was done in error and that they would have to fix this, and they did get a response back from Tim Hortons, and this is what they said to them. That the website was not appropriate for all ages viewing in a public environment, and that we try to ensure that all of our guests can enjoy a safe and pleasant experience when visiting us. We look at all of these types of requests in detail in order to provide the most latitude we can while keeping our restaurants a friendly environment. Of course, you can't deny the LGBT community without being regarded as, homophobic or trampling on some sort of vague human right that they have to use private Wi-Fi on private property. So the battle was actually taken to Twitter, where a boycott on Tim Hortons started. And wouldn't you know it, that quickly ended when the company apologized and they unblocked the news website. Now, I'm not exactly expecting the same treatment for PFT here, but by all means, feel free to tweet at them and send them your emails. Because for starters, they are a private company. They can do whatever they want, and really, if they want to block PFT, it's their loss. I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. Their coffee is absolutely gross. It's really a fast food-based coffee. You wouldn't eat a Big Mac and call it a burger, so I don't know why anybody would do the same thing calling this coffee. But I suppose you could make the argument that they're not so private after all. For starters, they rely on federal immigration and the temporary foreign worker program. The temporary foreign worker program is very unpopular in a lot of circles, both left, right, and also libertarian. But Tim Hortons has stood by their decision here to hire these employees simply because Canadians don't want a minimum paying wage job serving coffee and breakfast sandwiches. So the CEO told the media a couple years ago that if the cessation or limitation of access to federal or provincial labor programs, including the temporary foreign worker program, should happen, it would affect the bottom line. So a private company that can't exist without government involvement, that doesn't sound right. But believe it or not, that's what happened in Nova Scotia as taxpayers covered the losses for Tim Hortons restaurants. Nova Scotian taxpayers involuntarily gave over $1.4 million. And why, you ask? Well, unlike other Tim Hortons and other fast food joints, these ones were located in state-run hospitals. These places only hire union workers who feel entitled to $20 an hour for making coffee. It was the same thing in Ontario, where the Windsor Regional Hospital operates 3 Tim Hortons that cost taxpayers $265,000. So I mean, maybe Tim Hortons is not a private company, and maybe they should unblock Press for Truth. I mean, what's the big deal with my news site in the first place? A lot of these places nowadays have TVs, and they'll show CBC or CNN or Fox or any other kind of propaganda state garbage. But I suppose that it's state propaganda makes for a comfy environment here at Tim Hortons. So you're not going to find any Tim Hortons product placement on Press for Truth, that's for sure, guys. I consider this really an honor to be blocked by this smug, gross coffee, fast frankenfood chain that's really weaved its way into the foundational fabrics of Canadian society. It's like my friend James Corbett says here on Twitter, that is the most Canadian alt-media badge of honor I could think of. Congrats, eh? So ask yourself, guys, what is a Canada without Timmy's? Well, what's a Canada without corporate fascism? Feel free to give this a shot in your neighborhood, guys. Go on into a Tim Hortons and see if you can get onto their Wi-Fi and visit pressfortruth.ca. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, check the links in the description, add us on patreon.com/pressfortruth, and stay tuned, we're gonna have more videos coming soon. Yeah. Start planting your own vegetables in your own yard, and if your municipality has a problem with it, you can refer them to the case with the Drummondville, Quebec couple who was just awarded the right to keep their garden. So indeed, this is great news today. We hope this sets a precedent and once again a ripple effect all across the nation.